Now, you best keep riding, you hear? This town ain't big enough for the two of us. You boys ain't from around here, are you? This town ain't big enough for the two of us.
Welcome. Welcome, 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 welcome. Stream. I've got the stream open. The stream is running for the first time in I think it's 15 days. You haven't seen me for 15 days. Now you've seen me again. Very, very great, very good to be back. Well, I say back. Very good to have a stream going, eh? I don't think I have much to say, do I? I think we're just jumping into the game. Jumping right into... Am I in the right category? I am. I think. Yeah, I am. Let's switch to the game scene. This one. Wow, am I not just a professional streamer? I've got the game scene. I've got the other things. I've just got everything. Here we go. Start the game. If I do, I doubt I would, but if I do get bored, I might play something else. Just as a little heads up. It's a little heads up. Tiny one. Made with Unity. Oh, it's actually straight up just working as well. This is really loud. Oh, that's... I forget that it's quieter actually in the game. This one. So, a look at what we've been through for those who might not have caught the other streams. Maybe I should pin a message saying something like, "Oh, if you want to know what I've been up to in this game, just ask." So, this is the scenario chart. We've been through the first loop, which was 0, 1, 2, 3. That's the first loop. And then we've been through the second loop, which is 0, 1, 4, 5. And now, we're not going through the third loop yet. I don't think, at least. We're going to go back to the second loop. And we're going to change some things. Maybe. I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen from here on out. But... I know that we're going to 4, I think. Wait, I mean, I say I know. I'm pretty sure we go to 4. I think it might be this one. Maybe it's this one? No, okay, it's 15. So it's this one, okay. So, I need to remember what... Right, okay, so this is the part where we give up on her, and we got the ability to, I guess, not give up on her. So let's do that. I'm gonna open the door. I suddenly opened the door. Yeah, I did it. Of course I would. I didn't want to see that ending again. Rikako-san was crying. Her voice had been clear and composed, so I'd assumed that she wasn't feeling anything. I was wrong. She was merely hiding it. You promised not to open the door.
約束をした時点では守るつもりでしたが、あなたたちが約束を盾に、僕を好き放題悪者にするからあえて破りました。
I had intended to keep that promise, but you both used it to make me look like a bad guy, so I changed my mind.
何なんですかその、見苦しい過去設定を並び立てれば、無事嫌われて円満破局みたいな空気感は、藤吉イズムですか
What's with this aura? Why does it feel like you're trying to be hated because of your past just to make the breakup cleaner? Is it a Fujiyoshi-ism or something?
ぶっちゃけ、ちえみちゃん程度の面倒さの子はいくらでも転がしてきましたから、状況がこうでなきゃ発奮するだけですし。
I've rejected tons of bothersome women like Chiemi-chan in my life, so if it weren't for the situation, I'd be going nuts right now.
リカ子さんみたいなレアキャラは超絶美味しいとしか思えない程度には人間腐ってるんで、諦めてほしいですね。
I'm just about degenerate enough to decide someone like you is too rare to let go, so you should cut it out. Crap, I overdid it a bit.
まああなたがどう思うかは知りませんが、僕は今の話であなたをより信頼しましたし、好きになりました。
Well, I have no idea what you're thinking, but hearing all of that just made me value you more. Huh? Huh?
ちえみちゃんにもそう言ってあげたいところですが、それはあなたへの定説に戻りますから、別の手を打ちましょう。
I'd have loved to say that to Chiemi-chan too, but that'd make me a cheater, so I'll do something else
明
instead.
日謎理論でしっかり丸め込んで、僕の友人を紹介しましょう。僕より少し頭が腐った変態野郎ですが、気は合いそう。
I'll win her over with some weird as hell reasoning and introduce her to a friend of mine. He's a bit more degenerate than I, but I think they'll get along.
いや待てよ。先生の方がいいかな。もしちえみちゃんがちょいピザ丸ハゲでも気にしないなら、超絶尽くす彼の方が。
Wait, maybe Teach would be better for her if Chiemi-chan doesn't mind slightly ugly boldies. She'd have someone really loyal and...
春秋様。なんだかよくわからないのですが、なぜこの流れで私を、好きなどと。
Haraki-sama, I do not think I understand, but why would you tell me that you like me, now of all times?
言ったでしょ。僕は、ルールは自分で決めたいんですよ。
Like I said, I want to play this by my own rules.
感情だって、他人にルールされたくないですから。みんなが嫌いなものでも、その気になれば喜んでいただきますとも。
I don't want someone else telling me how I should feel. Even if everyone else hates something, I'll happily take it.
だから、僕に嫌われたければ、方法を改めてください。あなたから好きだって言ったんですからね。覚悟はしてもらいましょう。
If you want me to hate you, find a better way to go about it. You're the one who said that you love me, so you better take responsibility for that.
バーカ。リカ子さんのアホ。
What the? You dumb idiot. Rikaku-san's a moron.
死んでる？
You alive? Oh, she finally broke.
何ですか？いきなり。あなたはバカですか？
Oh, what was that about? Are you a fool?
いや、全く。何なんでしょうね。
Yeah, seriously, what's that about?
こっちが聞いてます。
That's my line. Anyway, enough with the personal grudges.
賭けはまだ有効ってことにしませんか？
Can we consider the bet still on? The one where we'd win if we survived and could ask the other for whatever we wanted.
生き残った時、好きなように望めばいいんですから。僕はそれを打ち消すような望みは言わないですよ。
Oops. Had to get my OBS because for some reason it's not on the screen. I don't know why. So I can't see if anything's going wrong. If we survive, we can ask for anything we want, and I'm not planning on asking for anything that ruin it.
あなたは本当に不思議な人です。
You are such a strange person.
多分きっと芹沢様の言う通り、とても悪い方なのでしょう。
Serizawa-sama was surely right to call you a bad boy. I didn't confirm nor deny that.
それでもそう言っていただけて嬉しかった。それだけで私はもう十分です。
Even so, hearing that from you makes me happy enough. I am satisfied. Not good enough. Well, maybe. Adult love wasn't solid enough to play out through just jokes and improvisation. And then again, we adults could survive without needing anything fancy. It was a virtue as well as a vice.
明日生き残った時答えをください。
Please give me your answer when you survive tomorrow.
あなたは今晩狼に殺されるかもしれない。僕とメイコを守るために自ら正体を明かす賭けをしたから。
You might be killed by the wolves tonight. You took a gamble and revealed yourself to protect Meigo and I.
もしあなたが明日目覚めてこなかったら
If you don't wake up tomorrow,
僕は結局あなたにこんなことを望む資格なんてなかったと引き下がります。
it would mean that I wasn't worthy of asking you something like this. I'll back off if that happens.
春明様
Haruaki-sama. There I was, now at a key point. This tragedy-drunk heroine wouldn't die today. It would be the most unfortunate Coryzon. Honestly, I wasn't sure how to feel about that, but I would test it. This once.
せめて最後にお慈悲をいただけないでしょうか。
At the very least, can you grant me one final gift?
ダメです。僕はそれだけを生きがいにこの夜を越えるんですから。
No, I will survive the night with that as my goal in life.
不謹慎ですが嬉しいです。
It might be imprudent of me, but it makes me happy. I was the imprudent one here. After all, I was making moves on a girl that could die tonight.
それではさようなら。
Anyway, goodbye.
待った。
Ah, wait.
まだ何か。
Anything else? I could finally get to the main matter at hand.
野蛮としての植松里香子さんに一つ協力してほしいことがあります。
There's something I'd like to ask you as a night watcher. What would he like to ask her as a night watcher? It was the day after I did the prep work. I approached the plaza, met up with Yotsitsuko-kun, acted surprised when I heard the bad news, and once again saw the remains of poor, unfortunate Coryzon. I then listened to the brothers opening up, saw them find the letter, noticed that the fingers were placed in the same position as last time. This had to be Chiemi's idea. In this particular timeline, she didn't seem to be anything more than a bloodthirsty madwoman. I felt like she'd been the one who decided that destroying the entire body was the way to go, and Mochi didn't hesitate to agree. I badly underestimated just how warped that boy's personality was. Poor Mamiya-san. I knew she was an enemy, but I couldn't help but feel sympathy for her. Thus began the feast of the Yomi Purge. Yasunaka-kun presented the scenario set up by the wolves. I turned it around. Everything was about the same as last time. If I didn't change my words, things would go exactly the same way as last time. Of course they would. The people I was talking to were the exact same. Strangely enough, I also said the exact same things without relying much on memories from last time. Or maybe it wasn't that strange. After all, though I had the memories of the previous loop, I was the exact same person. If I'd somehow lost the memories of the final moments of the loop, I'd definitely be heading for the same ending right now. But in this case, it didn't matter if everything was the same this time. I could just go with the flow and do the same thing as last time. After all, it was already over.
そういう賭けだったんじゃないですかね。残念ながら負けですが。
That's what they were betting on, I assume. Unfortunately for them, it didn't work. Just like last time, everyone focused on Chikamochi, who had a half smile on his face.
やっぱそれ一方的じゃないかな。ハッサンやりっちゃんが本物だってのも決まってないわけだしさ。
That seems really one-sided. I mean, we have no proof that Hazan and Richan are what they claim to be. And just like last time, he was bringing up arguments that had already been shut down.
それに香織ママの指だってまだああやって読むのが正しいのかも。
Maybe you can actually read Mommy Cory's fingers some other way.
もっち
Mochi. Just like last time, Chiemi,
もういいよ
that's enough.
苦しいよ
It's getting
さすがに
cringeworthy.
じゃあ
Then,
うん
yeah,
やるとしようよ
let's kill them all. They went and did it. They drew the guns from their sleeves. I've been wondering why Mochi was in his school uniform this time, and this made me realize it was to hide the gun. The barrels and grips on them both were cut really short, probably for the same purpose. One of them was aimed in our direction, while the other was aimed at Kanso-san, who was already charging at them. Their intense change paralyzed everyone except him and Takumi-san, who would now make a move and die to the shotgun blasts. However, that didn't happen this time. The guns didn't fire anything. A moment after Chiemi's expression warped with shock, Kanso-san punched Mochi, while Takumi-san tackled Chiemi. Her lightweight body was thrown backwards and hit the wall. Takumi-san quickly grabbed the shotgun and aimed it at the floor. And pulled the trigger to ignite the shell in the other chamber. Once again, the gun didn't fire. He frowned, then opened it up, removed the cartridges, and threw them away along with the gun. Kanso-san handled his situation a different way. He simply pointed Mochi's gun back at its former master. So you're a wolf. His face swollen due to the punch, he was crouching down and glaring at Kanso-san. Bring the rope.
離せ離せなんでちくしょう
Let me go. Why? Damn it! Takumi-san took advantage of her staggering and pushed her down. She couldn't move at all. Things became a bit disorderly as we tied them up, but now it was relatively calm in here.
一体どういうことだ
What the hell was that about? Those words weren't directed at anyone, but everyone besides me related to him.
こいつは
These are dummies, Kanso-san said while looking at the shells from the shotgun he'd taken from Mochi. Everyone understood what that meant.
間違えたんか
You got the wrong ones?
そんなバカな
No way! Exactly, there was no way the cartridges she checked just yesterday was switched up in a single evening. Oh, she knows! Wait, okay, so what happened? Did we... Trick. Okay, so we switched out the cartridges from the shotgun. Welcome, fan. These loops are furious. They're absolutely full of hatred. I'm only on the second loop though, so I don't actually really know how much more furious the loops get. The only one with any idea what was responsible for this paranormal phenomenon was Rikako-san. Last night, I asked her to catch Chiemi and have a cat fight with her. Wait, what? That gave me the time I needed to go into Chiemi's room and mess with her equipment. A lot of it depended on luck, and I needed a couple of loops, but I somehow pulled it off. Hehe, loops, hehe, get it? Hehe. It wasn't fair in the least, but my life was at risk here, and I actually died, so I didn't really care. Everyone continued to talk about how the shells were replaced, but since I decided to stay quiet, they didn't reach a conclusion. Now, everyone was left with the harsh truth that these two were wolves who just tried to kill everyone here. Thus, everyone began talking about how to handle them. Yasunaka-kun suggested we tie them up and lock them in somewhere. He argued that now that we know they were wolves, all we had to do was prevent any further murders from was make them unable to move. I don't know if that's gonna work, because we've literally seen... Can I see the picture? Probably not, huh? We've literally seen one of the werewolves as like a werewolf. Like a full-on werewolf. I feel like ropes is not going to stop a werewolf. Kanso-san was thoroughly against that, suggesting that we instead hang them over today and tomorrow. When asked for his reasoning, he insisted that wolves had to be hanged and their argument wasn't going anywhere. Most of Kanso-san's decisions were influenced by the legend and his own experience, so he didn't have a proper way to deal with a situation this unorthodox. Yasunaka-kun, on the other hand, was bound by conscience and emotions, making Kanso-san's option unacceptable for him. What? Oh, I guess that's Yasunaka-kun, huh? That left me no choice but to weigh in. Do I have to pick here?
ちょっとよろしいですか？
May I say something? Now everyone, even Kanso-san, lended an ear to my words. It took too long for me to get to this point.
牧島さんとしては、とにかく一日一冊のペースを守ることが大事だと思っておいでなんですよね。
Makishima-san, you believe it's important to kill only one per day and not any more, right?
一方で安永君は正直、ちえみちゃんやモッチーを殺したくない。
While Yasunaka-kun just doesn't want to kill them at all.
そうですね。認めます。ただ、怪奇現象の範囲外で犯人が見つかった以上、法的な解決を目指すべきだと思うわけです。
Yes, I admit it. Now that the culprits are no longer a supernatural phenomenon, I believe we should leave their judgment to the rule of law.
彼らがやったことは許されることじゃないけど、それを僕らが裁いていいわけじゃない。これまではあくまで緊急避難。
What they did is unforgivable, but we shouldn't be the ones to punish them. We only did the previous hangings because it was an emergency and we had no other choice.
彼らが身動き取れなければ危険はないのだから、そのようにして、あとは霧が晴れるのを待つ。
Since they aren't a threat to us when bound, we can just leave them like that and wait for the mist to clear.
晴れなければ、そこで改めて再度の緊急避難が必要という判断を下せばいいんです。
And if it doesn't, we will be left with no choice but to consider it another emergency that requires drastic measures. The boy was talking sense, but...
まず、お二人とも拘束が有効という点に少々認識の問題があると思います。
First, I'm not so sure if binding them would be effective.
というと、
What do you mean?
このゲームの支配者、神内明神は玄関の錠前を解除できます。
That's also a good point. I didn't think about that. The game master here, Great Lord Shinai, can unlock our front
と
doors.
すれば、どんな拘束も解除できると考えるのが妥当じゃないでしょうか。
Isn't it natural to think he can undo any bindings?
それは
That's...
そして、今日と明日に分けてくくる場合、今夜一人分、死人が出ます。
Also, if we only hang one each day, one human would die tonight.
狼に勝ち目はありませんが、きっと殺すでしょう。
They have no chance of winning, but they take this kill.
そんなことはしないよ。
No, we wouldn't.
そうだね。無駄だし。
Yeah, it's pointless. They were so easy to read.
僕は、彼らは殺すと断言しますが、その根拠はね、安永君。
Yasunaka-kun, do you want to know why I'm so certain that they would kill?
はい。聞きましょう。
Yes, do tell.
彼らが、とても冷酷な狼だからだ。
It's because these wolves are extremely cruel. I walked up to them.
間宮久子さんのことを思い出してください。彼女は2日目に突然蛇を名乗り、冷静でない様子で振る舞いましたね。
Remember Hisako Mamiya-san? She suddenly claimed to be the snake on the second day and began acting all strange.
それはきっと、芹沢千恵美の指示です。
She was probably ordered to do it by Chiemi Serizawa. There was some noise in the room. Chiemi was still hanging her head.
おそらく、蛇を名乗れば安全だ、などと言いくるめたのでしょう。
She probably told Mamiya-san that being a snake was safe.
肝臓さんが、蛇の候補もくくるべきだと発言するだろうことも、承知の上でね。
Even though she knew that Kanso-san was ready to hang anyone claiming to be the snake.
事実それで、タエさんという無実の犠牲者を作ることに成功している。そうだね、チェミちゃん。
And it actually led to Tai-san, an innocent, getting hanged. You planned that, didn't you?
勝手に思ってれば。
Does it matter?
そしてその夜、間宮さんは不可解な死を遂げるわけですが、それもきっとこいつの仕業です。
Mamiya-san then died that night, and that was probably her doing too.
なんで
Why would you think that?
そりゃ、彼女がよそ者だからだよ。信頼できないし、いざという時裏切る可能性が高い。
Because she's an outsider, she couldn't trust her, and it was possible that she'd readily betray her.
具体的に言えば、 彼女は翌朝くくられる公算がかなり高かった。肝臓さんがそう主張していましたからね。
It was highly likely that she would have been hanged the next day. Kanto-san was pushing for it after all. Ah, okay. Yeah, I get it.
同意のないままにおとりをやらされた間宮さんは相当な不信感と恐怖感をこの二人に対して持っていたでしょうね。
These two tricked Mamiya-san into being a scapegoat, so she probably didn't trust them and was afraid of them.
そんな彼女ならばくくられるに際して他の狼の正体をばらして道連れにしてもおかしくはない。
It was completely possible that she'd reveal who the other wolves were during her hanging. Honestly, other than that, I guess another good reason is that if they eliminate her themselves, then because they were guaranteed to hang her anyway, that would mean that they would have to hang someone else. And they didn't suspect Chiemi or Mochi at all, so that would leave like a completely different person to get hanged. So that's also a good idea to kill her.
そう考えたから夜のうちに彼女を殺して口封じをしたんだ。
That's why you killed her at night. You basically silenced her.
しかしそれじゃあ一晩に一人以上殺してることになる。
Well, no, but that would mean that they killed two in one night.
ならないね。彼女は汚れを受けて殺されたんだ。狼にも何らかのルールがあって彼女はそれに違反した。
Yeah, exactly, fan. That's exactly. No, she was subjected to the corruption. The wolves must have rules too, and she went against them.
いや違反させられた。この二人によって。
Or rather, was made to go against them by these two.
全部推測じゃん。
You're just guessing.
もう何でもいいよ。
Whatever.
だから否定してくれって言ってるだろ二人とも。
Please deny it, damn it.
面倒だから言うわ。うん、全部そう。春明さんすごいすごい。ヤス君は思ったより脳みそ幸せな人だったんだね。
It's a pain, so I'll just say it. Yeah, he's completely right. Wow, Haruaki-san. You're so cool, and Yasukun's even more soft-brained than I thought.
知恵ね。
Chiene.
まあ私らにもいろいろあって最後まであがかないといけないことになってるからさ。もう質問とかやめてよ。面倒。
We had our reasons for doing what we did, and we had to keep doing it until the end. So stop with the questions. They're a pain.
知恵見てめえ
Chiene, you
や
damn.
めてください。気持ちはわかりますが時間の無駄です。
Please stop. I understand how you feel, but that'd be a waste of time.
狼をやった人間とはもう分かり合うことはできないんですよ。
You can't reach an understanding with those who became wolves.
じゃがどうする？
So what are we doing with them?
というわけで僕の提案ですが片方は手足を切断し片方はくくりましょ
My suggestion is that we cut off one's limbs and hang the other one. That is so... Wow, okay. They are not going to react well to that.
う。そうすれば今夜拘束がなくても出歩けないでしょうから安全そうです。
If we do that, the one without limbs won't be able to go around, even if unbound, so we'd probably be safe.
それでもう一人を明日くくれば狼は全滅。きっと翌日には霧も晴れ。
And if we hang the one tomorrow, the wolves would be exterminated. The mist should clear by the day after and...
おい不妻子
Fushishi.
はい。
Yes?
お前今なんつった？
What did you just say?
ですから拘束がなくても出歩けないし凶器も持てないように手足を切断するのがいいでしょうと。
That's mental, mate. I'm saying we should keep one from walking around using weapons by cutting off their limbs. Huh? What the hell was with their reaction?
何か問題がありましたか？
Is there a problem with that?
お前本気で近持ちかちえみの手足をもぐって言ってんのか？
You seriously saying we should cut off Chikamuchi's or Chiemi's limbs?
はい。それじゃあ不足ですかね。大腿部と肩で切ってしまえばさすがに這って移動もできないかと。
Huh? Yes. Wouldn't that be enough? If we remove them at the base, they couldn't even crawl, right?
てめえやっぱイカれてるよ。
You really are a fucking lunatic. Huh?
それは残酷すぎますよ。
That is way too cruel. Huh?
相手が狼とはいえそれは
I understand they are
そ
wolves.
こまでは
But that is a step too far. What?
フシャユキさん怖い。
Fusayuki-san, you're scary. Why?
リカコさん、狼の獅子を切断することは汚れの対象ですか？
Rikaku-san, would cutting off their limbs make us targets of the corruption?
それは聞きませんが。
I have not heard of anything that implies that.
皆さん、これまでに歴史と伝統にのっとって生きてる人間を縄にかけて処刑してきましたよね。
Excuse me, but aren't you the ones who hanged a couple of people just because of history and legends?
ですが、しかし、
But we
くくって楽にしてやっておる。
put him to rest.
考察はかなり苦しみの強い残酷な処刑方法だって説もありますよ。
I've heard that hanging is actually a really painful way to go.
そうでなくても、多数決で人を処刑するなんて、やられる側からすれば、この上ない絶望と恐怖だと思いますし、
Even if it wasn't, they were being lynched because of a popular vote. That alone must have been utterly terrifying.
それに、狼は、あんな残酷な殺し方をしてるのに。
The wolves murdered so cruelly, yet you're all acting like this.
皆さんは、随分、良識的なんですね。いや、それはいいことなのかな。人間らしさ？
You're all pretty good-natured, aren't you?
なるほど。
You're all pretty good-natured, aren't you? Wait, that's a good thing, isn't it? Humane? Oh, I see. They all fell silent. But even I could understand that there was something within them that made them averse to my idea.
じゃあ、四肢を骨折させましょうか。粉砕骨折させれば効果は一緒ですから。
Can we break their limbs instead? The effect would be the same, right?
あるいは明日くらいにちょうど死ぬ程度に、野里先生に毒を処方してもらうとか。
Or perhaps Nosato sensei could poison them in a way that would make them die right about tomorrow.
いい加減にしたまえ。そんな乱雑な処置で命の保証はできん。痛みのショックで死ぬこともあるぞ。
Stop it, I can't ensure that they would survive that. The shock from the pain alone might kill them.
それに医者の端くれとして毒など処方できるか。我々は狼とは違うのだよ。
And I happen to be a doctor. I cannot poison. We're not like the wolves.
なるほど。なるほど。わかりました。ちょっといろいろ誤解してたみたいです。
I see. I understand. I seem to have misunderstood you all.
じゃあ、どうしましょうね。今日誰かが死んじゃいますね。
What now, though? I guess someone's dying today. This was such a pain. Why did they argue against my suggestion if they had none of their own?
どうしても必要なら私が
If it must be done, I shall
すべ
take
き
it.
ことをします。
I shall take it upon myself.
いや、わしがやる。
No, I'll do it.
じじいと女が無理してんじゃね
Don't push yourselves.
僕らはそんなことしちゃいけない。
You mustn't do that.
ああ、やめろ。まだ考える時間はある。
Stop it, you all. We can still think this through.
わかった。もういい。
It's fine. That's enough.
私、今から死ぬからさ。その前に、モッチくくれば。
I'll die myself. Can you hang Muchi first?
それで誰も、汚れはなしでしょ。
No one should get the corruption then.
わお、最後まで冴えてんね。
Whoa! Clear-headed until the end, huh?
え？今度は何を企んでるの？
Huh? What are you planning now?
手足をもがれるのは、嫌だよ。
I don't want to get my limbs cut off. Even wolves were afraid of some things, huh?
そんじゃま、あっちでハルちゃんには謝っとくよ。
Alright, I'll apologize to Haru-chan when I get to her.
お前は、ハルちゃんと同じところには行けないよ。
Not going to the same place as her.
どっかな、りっちゃん。
I'm not Ri-chan?
くくった方は救われる。狼に殺されれば救われない。
The hanged are saved, the ones killed by wolves are not.
逆にする？モッチ。
Wanna switch?
どっちでもいいよ。
I don't care enough.
いい。どうせ死んだら終わりだ。
It's fine. Regardless of the way, it'll be over once you die.
それなら僕がお前を殺す。
So I'll take it upon myself to kill you.
どうしてこんな。
Why did this have to
どうし
happen?
ても
Just because?
なんだよそれ。
What's that supposed to mean?
よくはわかんないんだけどね。
I don't really get it.
なんとなくどうしようもなかった気がするんだよね。
But I felt like we had no choice. Yasunaga Oribe punched Chikamochi Kamoshida.
ごめんね、やっすん。
Sorry, Yazun.
それだけは本当だ。
I really am.
ごめんね。
Sorry.
落ちなかれ。
Rise not. Haha. Yazunaka-kun pushed him forward. A moment later, the rope went taut. It shook for a moment, then slowly swayed back and forth, and finally stopped completely. Yasunaka-kun cut the rope. From the mist below, I heard the sound of something soft collapsing, then hitting the shallow water below.
次だ。ちえみ。
You're next, Chiemi.
はいは
Alrighty.
これでは間接的に我々が殺しているようなものではないかね。
Isn't this the same as directly killing her?
い。さあ、新内さんとやらが判断するんじゃないですか。
Who knows, Shinai-san or whatever will be the judge of that, right?
お前、そうやってそのまま死ぬつもりか、ちえみ。一言も謝りもしねえでよ。
You're gonna die just like that, without even saying sorry or anything?
うん。だってそういうやつだし、私。
Yeah, that's the kind of girl I am, right?
みんな知ってたでしょ。私が上藤吉の悪ガキどもを殺しかけた時にそういう人間だってさ。
You knew that from the time I almost killed the brats in Kamufujiyoshi, didn't you?
まあその後できるだけ良い子のふりしてたけどさ、まんまと騙されてお疲れ。
Well, I went on to act like a good girl after that. Fooled you good, didn't I? How's it feel?
モッチーはああいう性格なのを私が操縦していろいろやってもらった感があるし、怒んないであげて。
I knew what kind of guy Mochi was, and kinda used it to control him. Don't get mad at him, okay?
私が全部悪いで問題ないよ。
It's all my
だ
fault.
から好きに憎んでみん
Hate
な。
me all you want. Looking backwards, she stepped up to the cliff.
リカ子さんおめでとう。障害を乗り越えて無事なんとかなりそうじゃん。
Congrats, Rikaku-san. The obstacle's out of the way, and it looks like it'll all work out, doesn't it?
読み意味の宴はそういうものではありません。
That is not what the feast of the Yomi Purge is about.
山と共に生きる我らが追った業を未来永劫背負い供養し続ける。
We who live with the mountain have been given a burden, and we must bear and pay respects to it for all eternity.
私はその業を引き取るだけ。
I am here to simply take in that burden.
じゃあまた生まれ変わったら今度こそ殺しに行くから。
Then, if I am born again, I'll come kill you directly this time.
雲の末裔だかなんだか知らないけど、ご大層な教えを語り継ぐための子孫でも作って待ってれば。
You're the last of the spiders, aren't you? Go have some descendants, teach them whatever grand nonsense they taught you, and wait for me to come and get you.
そのように悪ぶらずとも。
There's no need to be like that.
うるさいな、今から殺すぞ。
Shut up, I'll kill you now.
嘘嘘。じゃあね。
Joking. See ya.
ちえみ、
Jamie.
何？
What?
神様って
What is
Nani?
God? Oh! Her pupils instantly shrunk.
やっぱり
I knew it.
やっぱり一番怖いのはあなただよ、春明さん。
You really are the scariest thing here, Haruaki-san.
よかった。ありがとう。みんなありがとう。自殺させてくれて。
I'm so glad. Thank you. Thank you all so much for letting me kill myself. She took 3 steps back.
手足もがれるかもって思った時、本当心底怖かったよ。本当に怖かったよ。
You have no idea how scared I was when I thought my limbs were gonna get cut off. Seriously.
春明さん、
Haraki-san.
一緒に狼だったらよかったのに。
If only we were wolves together.
僕はごめんだよ。
I don't want that.
またね。
See ya. She turned around and ran. as fast as possible into the mist and jumped. Rise not.
帰ってますね。
I'm going. I alone turned around. Huh?
まだお前
But you still haven't. I didn't want to hear it. She'd probably fallen into a world different from ours, and I got the impression I wouldn't hear a sound. I didn't want to listen to the echoing silence. We then went on to clean up Kaori-san's body. After spacing out a bit, we all cut up some veggies and ate them uncooked. It was hard to make a fire in the mist, and as people of Fujiyoshi, no one felt like using fires other than the one in the watering hole. And everyone was averse to using the dining hall. Thus, everyone went to sleep. No. For the first time since the feast began, none of us could sleep. Morning came without us getting any rest. And the mist was gone. No one had died, of course. Everything was as the legend said. With the Yomotsu Okami gone, peace came back to the human village. However, it was hard to celebrate it. Yudai Hashimoto, Tei Yamawaki, Hisako Mamiya, Haru Makishima, the old man who cried wolf, Kaori Oribe, Chikamochi Kamoshida, and Chiemi Serizawa. I love how that name just doesn't fit into the rest of it. All these Japanese names, the old man who cried wolf, Japanese name. A whole 8 people died, even if 2 of them were outsiders. The settlement had suffered great losses. Everyone had an aversion to using fire to dispose of any remaining objects that carried signs of murder, so it was decided that they would be buried. The tatami, the floorboards, the futon, all of it. We also ended up making new gravestones for those we had lost. Rikako-san had told us that the graveyard near the hanging pine was full of the feast's victims, so there was nothing under the stones.
それじゃあ、今はお亡くなりに？
So, has he passed away or something?
はい。大往生でした。
Yes, it was a peaceful death. Those who died normally would be burned at the crematorium in Kamifujiyoshi, run by the Higuchi, and buried here. Those who didn't would be thrown into Saranaka and simply vanish. Making sure no one saw me, I went down to Saranaka. There was nothing. No corpses or belongings. Just like last time, Saranaka was just a thin, shallow stream. However, I did find one thing. There's a pendant with the Yomotsu Okami symbol on it. What was this? Was someone wearing it? What did it mean for someone in Fujiyoshi to wear something like this? At this point, I didn't feel like investigating it anymore. Was that strange? No. I felt like that was just how things were. Days passed of us working on this and that. We somehow survived thanks to the food from the fields, and right as we were finishing up our work, help finally arrived. Kami Fujiyoshi sent some people to remove the landslide blocking the road, and now they've finally made it.
大丈夫でしたか、皆さん？
It's him. It's this guy. Are you all well? It'd been a while since I saw Shoji Higuchi. He looked as friendly as always.
庄司、どうして今まで？
Shoji, what took you so long?
我々としても作業は進めたかったんだが、どうにも。不可解な事故が多発してね、霧が晴れてからようやく進めたのさ。
We wanted to work faster, but we had some unexplainable accidents while trying. We were only able to make progress after the mist cleared.
それで、皆さんご無事で？
So, is everyone alright? No one answered. Yeah, no, everyone's perfect, man. Don't worry. Everything's just quite alright, actually. as you can tell from the missing people. Higuchi began looking sympathetic and started giving some orders to his people. Eventually, we were brought to Kamifujiyoshi and were made to spend a few days like refugees in some community center. Apparently, this was temporary. The village head said they needed time to clean up Yasumitsu after the disaster. I really appreciate the 3 daily meals they gave us from the nearby watering hole, and sleeping in a place without any mist at all was pleasant. The food was strangely fancy, and the people bringing it seemed somewhat humble. They'd always looked down on the people of Yasumitsu, but now that we'd stopped the Yomi invasion, they actually revered us. That was just a guess, though, and I was still locked up in here with nothing to do. One day I actually got to see the officer. It actually felt kind of nostalgic at this point.
おお、生きとったか。何よりだ。これ、お前のだろ。邪魔くさいからとっとと引き取らんか。
Oh, you're alive. That's great. This is yours, right? It's no use to us, so take it back already. My bike. The weeks of exposure to the elements had left it looking really shabby. I had nothing better to do, so I decided to clean it.
そろそろ復旧も終わりますから、皆さん休みずに戻っていただけます。
We almost done restoring Yasumitsu, so you will be able to return soon.
夫妻子さんも、それで気分転換に遠出でもされたらいかがです？
Fushishi-san, why not drive far away for a change of pace? What a strange thing to ask someone. Yeah, why don't you just like drive really far away? Like just honestly, get on your bike and just like drive across the country in like the other direction. Like honestly, just drive as far away as you possibly can. I think that would be a great idea. Why not try that for like a change of pace? I actually wanted to return to Yasumitsu though. When I told Takumi-san that I'd take Meiko to the police once everything was settled, and then return, he told me that I didn't have to. Rikako-san said she'd help him work the fields, and he'd accepted it. Kansu-san fixed his rifle and began hunting again. Isanaka-kun resumed going to school. Uchitsuku-kun moved to the dorm and said he'd start going to school again, too, joining his brother. Kyonosuke-shi would, as planned, become a part-time doctor at Kamifujiyoshi's clinic. When Kansa-san returned from our shelter, Kyonosuke-shi actually looked after him like a proper doctor, which was some impressive character development. Anyway, since it all seemed to be fine here, Takumi-san told me that I didn't have to return.
実のところは、お前にはいくつもやってもらいたいことがあるんだけど。
Well, I can't say I don't have stuff for you to do.
お前、よそに居場所あんだろ。だから、これっきり戻ってこなくても、まあ仕方ねえと思ってるよ。
Do you have a place to return to, right? I really wouldn't blame you if you didn't come back.
ただ、
But?
お前を待ってる女がいいんだからな。
Oh, that is so sweet. Keep in mind that you have a woman waiting for you here.
それと一緒に延々畑作ってんのもバカらしいぜ、おらよ。
And honestly, I'm not sure I want to do nothing but farm with her.
すぐ帰ってきます。いろいろ片付けたらすぐに。
I'll be back right after I'm done with some business. I did consider returning to the life I had, but I figured I should stay here instead.
まあ、達者にな。
Well, I guess I'll see you then.
はい、あんたの番。
Your turn. Oh boy, here we go. She was hiding behind that tree? With her pale skin turning rosy, she meekly walked up to me.
メイコ、
God, she can't even speak.
その、達者に。
Meiko, stay in good health. Hey, what about me?
お姉ちゃん、違うでしょ。ふさゆきさんでしょ。
Onee-chan, you're supposed to talk to Fusayuki-san. Even she understood it. How precocious of her.
春明様、どうかお元気で。
Is that all you can tell me? Araki-sama, please stay in good health. I'd assumed that the fact that she wasn't treating this like our final meeting was a step forward. But no, I wouldn't let it fly. Here we go. I hadn't survived just to say goodbye to you.
そんな薄っぺらな言葉じゃ許せないな。
Those words aren't enough for me.
たまには遊びに来てください。
Please come visit every now and then. She sure was persistent.
そういうのを往生際が悪いって言うんですよ、リカ子さん。
You're being a sore loser right now, Rikako-san.
名前だって呼び合えるようになったんです。
We're close enough to call each other by name.
もう一歩、素直になってくれたら。
If you take just one more step forward,
僕はとても嬉しくなって、一つ大きな決断をできそうだ。
I might decide to do something big. There were a lot of things I wanted to give to her and take from her. I was sure I'd find happiness if we made proper exchanges. After all, that was the sole light I'd ever seen in that dreadful mist. I wouldn't give up on it, no matter what.
春明様。
Welcome, Zach. You've arrived at an interesting point. We're just Haraki-sama.
なんでしょ
Yes.
寂しいですから。
Because I would be lonely. Yes, you'd been lonely your whole life.
好きです
Holy shit.
から。
Because I love you. Yes, you weren't even allowed to love anyone.
五章ですから。
And because this is all new to me. Yes, for the first time ever, you sought your own happiness.
戻ってきてください。
Please come back to me. Oh, here we go. It's gonna show the scene. I couldn't control myself.
うわ、見せつけやがる。
Woo haha. Fucking sound. Woo haha. Showing off, huh? Kizzy. I let her go and she looked up at me with angry eyes. She'd become a lot more expressive and I found it nothing if not lovable. I would live out the rest of my life with her. As if it's not going to show a picture of that. It showed one with Chiemi and then it's not going to show one with her. This journey brought me to something unexpected and led me to a really happy ending.
約束します。
I promise.
全部、向こうのことは片付けて、今度こそ、
Once I deal
ここに
with
戻ってきます。
once I deal with everything outside, I will come back here.
はい。
Please do.
その時は、僕が大事なことを言う番だ。
Then it'll be my turn to say something.
はい。
I understand.
信じて待っております。
I shall believe and wait for you. No, I know what's gonna happen. No, don't do this to me. Borrowing the Higuchi's help, I got everything I needed, secured Meiko behind me with the children's belt, and left Fujiyoshi. Upon arriving at the closest city, I presented her as a lost child. They asked me questions, of course. I omitted some things, but didn't lie at all. They thought I seemed shady, but I was able to prove my identity, and they let me off.
バイバイ、ふさゆきさん。
Bye bye, Fushayuki-san. She waved all smiles. She still couldn't get my name right. This reminded me that nothing that happened in Yasumitsu had drawn police attention. I had no idea who'd done or didn't do what to make it turn out like that, but I didn't care anymore. It's just the way it was. What was up with the looping business anyway? Was killing the wolves the condition for ending the loop? If that was the case, then it was caused by something that wanted the wolves to lose no matter what. No other explanation fit. Who would that be, though? Great Lord Shinai? That fit the story, but it often seemed like he didn't have a horse in this race. Also, if his only way to help the humans was to give out the guardians and send me, then he was seriously a bothersome god. Would I go back in time if I died now? I didn't even care to try, not to mention that situations in which you could easily die were the abnormal ones. Also, I'd actually left the village this time. I'd made the current situation different than any so far, and it was best to assume I wouldn't loop again. That was probably just the way it was. I stayed in that city for a while and contacted certain people, telling them that I would now be a farmer in a remote village. That got me in some serious trouble, but Yasumitsu got no service anyway, so it wasn't like they could do anything about it. I'd cut ties with my previous life in 3 days, then entered a jeweler's store and bought the ring with the nicest design. It had a gem as red as her eyes, covered in gems as clear as her hair. It wasn't particularly expensive, but I felt it suited her better than any of the others. Then, just as I'd promised, I returned to Fujiyoshi. I went to the officer, talked to Higuchi-san, passed the mountain path, arrived at Yasumitsu, and saw something I couldn't believe. Why? Why? Why was everyone dead? Why was Yasunaka Oribe dead? He'd survived after saying goodbye to his best friend and the girl that was like a sister to him, hadn't he? Why was Yoshitsugu Oribe dead? He'd made it through his mother's death, found common ground with his brother, and had his whole life ahead of him, didn't he? Why was Kanso Makishima dead? He'd lost his granddaughter, protected Yasumitsu, and was about to live out his twilight years in peace, wasn't he? Why was Takumi Muro dead? The likable guy had discarded his inner discord, believed in himself, and had helped bring us to victory, hadn't he? Why were all of their heads split open? It was supposed to be over. We'd ended it all. That was how it was supposed to be, right? I begged. Hoped that someone was still alive. If no one was, what would have been the point of those sacrifices? Found one. A survivor. He was covered in blood, and held an axe covered in blood and grey matter. The wolves are coming. I then went on to murder him. After all, on one of the support beams, in the hole I found him in. Oh my god, was her body hanging helplessly. What the hell? What was all this? Why had I thought that I had it all in the bag? Everything was dead. Everything was lost. And I hadn't reached an end yet.
しないさんのお守りは
It's actually going to sing the song. Shinai-san's guardians are. The outside was shrouded in mist.
日がちふましらみガラスよ雲
1 snake, 2 monkey, 3 crow, 4 spider, as though led by something.
湯切り立てば宴の支度
5 prepare for the feast when the evening mists arrive. I passed the empty plaza.
いついつ無事なもなれもて走る
6 the batcher runs along late with Nara as a fix. Went down the barren hill.
あやしよみびとけがらえり
7. The corrupt Yomibitu rise to oppose the mountain.
嬉しい。私に会いに来てくれた？
Oh, as if she's alive. Did you come to see me? I'm so happy.
あやしよみびとなきにせん
8. Death of the damned Yomibitu is demanded.
逃げられると思うたか？落ちよ。落ちて、落ちて、また落ち直せ。
Do you believe you could escape? Fall, rise, rise again and again.
くくれやひとひにひいとり
9. One soul per day now to bind.
きりたあた
10. The mists rise away again. As I threw myself into Saranaka's mists.
ダメ春明様
No, Harakizama. I felt like I could hear her voice. Rikako-san. I couldn't fulfill my promise. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Please don't cry for me. I couldn't make you happy. I couldn't do anything to help you feel normal happiness. I couldn't dispel the darkness of Fujiyoshi. And I couldn't even get close to the core of the mystery surrounding it. How? What could I have done here? I needed a new path. I had to find one that could lead me to the truth. Alright, so that's the actual ending of the second loop. Welcome, Crespiancy. I don't think this is quite Loss. This is it's not far from Loss. Not quite though. A little bit maybe. Like a half. I mean, maybe half is too much. Like 46%. Do I need? Okay, I can speed it up. Can I speed it up even more? No. You can like speed it up and then you can slow it down again. Okay, Dwango. Title drop. Leijing Lubu. Oh, 16. Racing loop. Yep. Is it going to give me a game over screen so I can watch the hint corner? Ending number 2. Yes. The hint corners are funny.
よう大将、お疲れさんだぜ。メインルート基地はこれで終了。いやー、波乱万丈の末、狼全滅ですっきりしたな。
This marks the end of the main route. Wit, so many ups and downs, but in the end, all the wolves were wiped out. Isn't that great?
やっぱうつすぎるか。だよな。でもしょうがねえだろ。宴に勝っても謎はまだまだ残ってんだからよ。
What's that? Too depressing? Yeah, I figured. But what can you do? There were still plenty of mysteries left even after you won the feast.
つうわけで、心機一転だ。次に備えて準備をしようぜ。
So with that said, it's time for a fresh start. Prepare yourself for the next one.
今回のバッドじゃないエンドに、題して、みんなで祝おうウェディング
That
に
is
ついてだが。
That is such a fucked up name for that ending. Ending to a wedding celebrated by all.
これもまた、至るべくして至った結末だ。胸を張ってくれ大将。
This was yet another outcome you were bound to see. Be proud of yourself, Chief.
さて、今回手に入ったキー16でどこが開くのかというと、
As for where you use key 16,
ちょっと分かりづらい場所だな。4、潜入の
4.
住居を決めよ。だ。
It's actually not so obvious. Go to 4 infiltration Q, decide arrangements.
あれだよ、あれ。取材者の2人をどこに止めるかって相談してたところの鍵付き選択肢。
You know, the luck choice when you were talking about where the 2 journalists would sleep.
あれで間宮久子と夫妻師春明が宴に参加し、展開が大きく変わったんだ。次もそれを狙うことになる。
Through that, Hisako Mamiya and Hauraki Fushaishi participated in the feast, changing things greatly. Aim for that next time too.
次の新ルート、暗黒では、ここまで地方風に死んでたカメラマンのおっさんがついに宴に登場。どうなるかな？
In the next true route, Darkness, that old cameraman who's died at the start every time so far, will finally join the feast. How will that change things?
もっとも、暗黒って名前からして、次のルートは不吉な予感プンプンだ。負けねえでくれよ、大将。
Though you might be getting a rather ominous feeling about the next route from the name Darkness. Don't lose, Chief.
つうわけで、今回はここまで。
Alright, we've had
次
these.
も元気に
Yeah, that sheep is gone. That sheep goes crazy. Alright, so 4 was it? That's a strange one that it wants me to go to. Because I thought I actually would have to go back to the first one, but no, it's this one. Where is it? 16? That's 20. There we go.
興味深いわね。変化した鳥。不思議だわ。
やっぱり。
あった。
Yep.
あ、よかったら下の小屋。
大丈夫、大丈夫。どこでも寝られ
Okay,
る
so
から。
what is the choice here?
それに君はこれから
Enter
住むんだ
prefab
ろう。
myself.
早いところ家に馴染んだ方がいい。
He's still talking. Alright, let's enter the prefab ourselves here. This was it. If I let Hashimoto-san take the prefab, his death would be unavoidable. By keeping him alive, I should be able to create a different timeline. Simply surviving wasn't enough. That meant I had to try all possible options. I had to reveal all the things I was ignorant or afraid of. For all I knew, I might be overlooking some minor yet important details. But first, I wanted to try more impactful changes. Letting Hashimoto-san survive would have to greatly affect the timeline. That already happened once with Mamiya-san's survival. It even changed the Guardians people received. I could still remember the last loop. I'd become the snake, took out the wolves, and decided to live alongside the survivors. Most importantly, Rikako-san. Those sentiments had earned an unreasonably cruel conclusion. I could still remember the sadness and despair. But I couldn't really understand it. Why had I forgotten my fear of the unknown? Why had it been so easy for me to decide to move to Yasumitsu and live alongside Rikako Uematsu? Was I that kind of person? I didn't know why, but it definitely seemed like I wasn't really myself back then. I'd felt like I'd become a part of something greater, not just an individual. The gears all snapped into place and brought forth that tragic ending. These feelings and guesses coming to my head left me without a clue as to where to go from here. Part of me did feel like fate or something divine existed, and that I couldn't escape its control no matter what. But my knowledge, discretion, perception, and intuition wanted to deny that line of thinking. There was no absolute fate. If there was something like that, it was either someone's elaborate plot or just a product of my imagination that seemed like it. I wasn't being a conspiracy theorist here, or a nihilist for that matter. However, I wanted to reject lines of thinking that stifled my ability to come up with ideas. If I could think creatively, I might be able to find gaps in these seemingly impenetrable bars jailing me here.
おさいし君、どうかした？
Ushashi-kun, is anything wrong?
気にしないでください。
No, nothing.
僕は今後ずっとあそこに住むんですから、橋本さんはこの一晩だけでも楽に過ごすべきです。
But since I'm going to stay there every day from now on, I think you should at least have it for one night.
しかし
But
富士吉村にはマロードを丁重にもてなす文化があるそうですから。
I heard that Fujiyoshi has a culture of giving guests a warm welcome.
その一員となる僕もそうすべきだと思うんです。
If I'm to become a part of it, I think I should do the same.
まれびと信仰？確かにロケーション的にはしっくりくるけど、ここの現状を見るとピンとこないな。
Traveler reverence? That fits the general location, but not the state of the village itself.
それってあの樋口さんから聞いたの？
Did you hear it from Higuchi-san? Ah, crap. That was info Rikako-san had given me last loop.
まあよくしてもらいましたよ。こうして家まで手配してくれて。
Well, I've been treated nicely, and they even gave me a place to stay.
久石くん人がいいのね。
You're a generous person, aren't you?
え？
Huh? Nope, not at all.
ご好意はいただいたらどうです？橋本さん。
Why not accept his kindness, Hashimoto-san?
じゃあいただこうかな。
I guess I will. Honestly, I can't get over the fact that he's literally always got that, like, hand thing going on. The thing that you put between your pants or whatever, like, put on your pants. Like, he's just got that going on, like, at all times. It's really bothering me. All good. After parting ways with them, I went to Kori-san and had her help me get a shappy blanket, some newspaper, and a water bucket. There's only one bucket they could let me use, and it was in a pretty bad state, showing once again just how dire Yasumitsu's supply problem was. The newspapers weren't the daily news, but some old ones brought from Kamufujiyoshi as material supplies. I spread them out on the floor and placed the blanket on them. That was my sleeping spot ready. I also bought a portable toilet at the convenience store. Now, if nature called during the night, I wouldn't be faced with the difficult choice to either die or piss myself. After finishing up the preparations, I, just like last time, returned to the dining hall. I was giving some shishinari again, and somehow ate it all.
あら、平気そうね。お口にあったかしら。
Oh, you ate it all. Was it to your liking?
案外いけますね。
It's not bad, actually. That was a bit of a lie. I just came prepared for it because of my experience from last time. I still wasn't used to it enough to declare it good. Just what kind of booze would go with this? Then, like last time, I went on to fix plates. Last time I'd learned the simples of the higuchi, the uematsu, and when I'd gotten the snake, the mikuruma simple, even if it wasn't too clear. The Nosato mansion had theirs on the gate, so now I knew them all. This info could possibly lead me to the truth, so I had to remember it. Some time passed and, like last time, the students came back.
ただいま。あれ？
We're back. Huh? The bright yet tender Yasunaka Oribe. His tenderness was mostly toward his family, though it was a very human trait, which was a good thing. I felt bad for him for getting caught up in something like this. Whether he was an ally or enemy in the feast would greatly affect how it went. I didn't want him as an opponent. That much was certain.
見知らぬやつ。
Don't know this guy. The free-spirited and slightly amoral Chikamochi Kamoshida. He'd left quite an impression on me. Did I say amoral? As a wolf, he was a threatening individual who could do some horrible things with a straight face. But what would he be like this time? And then there was her. Haru Makishima. She's only survived once. Last time, she'd been brutally murdered, while the time before that, she sided with the wolves as a badger. She wasn't much of a contributor to the feast. I considered her to be a troublemaker rather than anything else. But...
そうか。落ちてきたか。
I
己
see.
幾度かやり直しておるな。
I see. So you rose. You have tried again several times, have you not?
は はるちゃんは夜中寂しがって一人で抜け出したんだ。お泊まり学校。それで山道を抜けて。
Haru-chan was so lonely at night that she left the school we were staying at all by herself. Then she went through the mountain path and...
わからない。大人は安水の手前で見つけたって言ってたけど、みんな安水で何か見たんじゃないかって噂して。
I don't know. The adults said they found her in front of Yasumitsu and there were rumors she saw something there.
そのせいかわかんないけど、それでしばらくはるちゃんおかしくなっちゃって、みんな狼つきとか噂して。
I don't know if that's the reason why, but she started acting weird afterwards. People said she was possessed by a wolf. She was the closest person to the mystery surrounding Yasumitsu. She'd lost her parents at the previous feast, disappeared once, then started talking strangely.
偉大なる神を下ろすのは相応の儀礼にのっとるべきで、簡単に勝手に取りつかれるようなものではないと。
Do we love characters that speak extremely slowly? To summon a god of that caliber, you must prepare an appropriate ritual. Possession by wolf is not something that can happen so easily. The village heads insisted that this wasn't any sort of possession, but a mental illness. However, the fact that it was treated using Uematsu's special ability to take in such things made it seem entirely possible that the trouble surrounding her was of divine origin. But there was something I didn't really understand. I didn't know how, but last time Rikaku-san healed me of aconite poisoning. I knew it was my own body that this ability was... I knew it with my own body that this ability was more than just religious rite and had an actual physical effect. That didn't necessarily mean that it would work on mental illnesses too. Honestly, there were too many things that didn't make sense here.
その汚れは私にも引き取れない。
That is a corruption not even I can take in. I didn't know the rules. It kind of freaked me out, but for now I had no choice but to set Rikaku's issues aside. What mattered now was Haru-chan. She had parental issues, a strange relationship with her granddad. All in all, she was a delicate young girl going through a complicated time in her life, and I didn't quite know how to deal with her. Fooling around with her didn't work, and Casanova-type characters seemed to scare her. I try not to do much and appear harmless. Maybe that'll work.
おかえりあなたたち。こちら急遽安水に移り住むことになった房石さんよ。
Welcome back. This is Fushaishi-san. He suddenly moved here to Yasumitsu.
どうも。
Hello. I bowed with an empty expression on my face.
兄ちゃん、アンドロイドだ。
Nii-chan, it's an android. I had to do my best not to fall over at that.
え、なんで？
Huh? Why?
だってなんか人間じゃないみたい。
I mean, he's not acting human.
おお、はるちゃんが僕より失礼だ。
Oh, Haru-chan's being even more rude than me.
すみません。こないだ見た SF 映画にハマったみたいで。
I'm sorry, she watched a sci-fi movie recently.
一応人間です。
I'm human, just so you know.
どうも、牧島春です。
Hello, I'm Haru Makishima. She wasn't as wary of me as last time. At least, I still had no idea how to approach her.
どっかで会いました？
Have we met?
いえ、この辺りに来たの初めてですから。
Huh? No, this is my first time here.
ですよね。
I thought so. Wait, does she also loop? Did she have memories of my seducing? No, of the previous loop?
なんだこれ。香織さん、ごめんなさい。
Oh, that
ちょっと
also
手拭
happened.
い
I
た
forgot
なんかも
about
らえま
that.
す？
Kori-san, do you have a hand towel? Something similar had happened last time too. Question mark? It wasn't impossible at some... okay, so just imagine this from like the point of view of her, right? Like this dude's just like daydreaming, staring her down. That must be sort of weird. That must be sort of strange. That must be a bit off, innit? Like you don't want that. It wasn't impossible that someone else had memories of the previous times. Particularly this girl, considering her mind held traces of madness.
Nani?
What? Crap, I stared at her for too long. I had to talk it off.
いえ、僕も何か引っかかるものが。関東に出たことは？
Well, I actually feel like you're familiar too. Ever been to Kanto?
ないです。
No.
そうか。じゃあきっと何か縁があったんでしょう。
Oh, don't say that. I see, then this must be something special.
どうしたの？真っ赤だよ。
What's wrong? You're all red.
いや、そんなことないよ。
No, I'm not.
ほー。
Oh. Huh? Was she easier than I expected? Maybe android-like coolness was the way to go with her, whatever that was.
織部さん、こちら補修が完了した食器類、いかがいたしましょうか？
Oribe-san, I have completed the repairs. Why is he talking like that? Oribe-san, I have completed the repairs on these plates. Whatever should I do with them? Cool manner of speech, robotic movement. Playing with people's impressions was a bad habit I had. He is right on that. Every loop he like pretends to do different things. It's sort of funny.
じゃあこっちへ。さっきそんな喋り方だったかしら。
Oh, bring them here. Wait, weren't you talking differently until now?
了承、実行。どうもありがとう、メッサーシュミット。
Acknowledged, executing, appreciated, Mrs. Smith.
暗い必殺人間バナナ。
What's... Eat this human banana. What? What's happening? This isn't real. There's no way this is real. Mochi closed in on me, shouted some weird skill name, instantly undid my belt, and brought my pants down. Some undies you got there.
こら、近持くん。やっていいことと悪いことがあるでしょ。
Hey, Chikamuchi-kun, there are things you can and cannot do.
いや、今を除いて仕掛けるときはなかったろ?
Hey, when else could I have done that? Well, if you looked at this as a joke, this was definitely well timed. My android-like coolness, whatever that was, instantly became a gag. His skill left me so dumbfounded that I just froze in place with my pants down, effectively giving a treat for the ladies and waiting for a response. How did the girl see this pantsless android-like cool guy before her? And again, what was android-like coolness anyway? Goodness gracious. I don't think I need to read that. I feel like most people will probably know what that was. Not a positive reaction, of course. Of course not. Mochi's prank effectively gave her the worst possible impression of me. Wait, who's getting beat up? Haru-chan had kicked my exposed ass over and over. How did she do that? Haru-chan had kicked my exposed ass over and over. The two boys stopped her, and then she, breathing heavily, fled the dining hall. The guys followed soon after, leaving just me and Kaori-san.
僕は悪いでしょうか?
Am I in the wrong here?
後で全員叱っておくわね。
I'll scold them later. She was all red ever since then. It was awkward as hell. I distracted myself by getting back to fixing plates. Eventually, we were joined by the old wolf guy, Meiko and Rikako-san. I wasn't quite done with my job yet, but just like last time, I was given a break, so I went outside.
嵐を見とけが入り
That is really fucked up. Like, he couldn't even have avoided it. Like, what could he have done? And they're still blaming him. Like, it was someone else pulling his pants down. Like, I don't... He even had a belt on. I could understand if he didn't have a belt on or something like that. But he had a belt on. Like, he literally said that Mochi undid the belt and then pulled the pants down. Which, on the other hand, is really impressive that he managed to do that so fast without getting spotted. But, you know... 8. The donut bologna rice snows on the mountain.
夫妻子さん、お疲れ様です。
Oh, Fushaishi-san, I see you were hard at work. Getting close to Rikaku-san was important for both survival and finding out the truth. Wait, when was this? I still had some affection for her, as well as memories of our time together. However, last time, when I felt a similar way about Chiemi, I was hit with a big surprise. It wasn't just Chiemi though. The feast of the Yomi Purge seemed to bring about a total change in the nature of people. If Rikaku-san became a wolf this time, I wasn't sure if she would instantly kill herself like she claimed she would. In fact, as a wolf, she would know Mako's guardian or lack thereof, leaving the humans at a huge disadvantage. And most of all, if I got too close with her, it would make parting with her a whole lot harder. Even if I lost some of them, I had memories of the previous loops, so this was actually a big deal for me. The emotional strain would gradually pile up, and eventually, as a guy as warped as me would snap. Thus, I would only get close to people as friends. That was probably the best way to go about this. I had no idea who'd even be alive once all of this was over. It was even possible that there had been no one left.
我らを生かすこの山、神内山の化身、神内明神様の教えを歌った古い歌です。
It's an old song about the teachings of Great Lord Shinai Sama, the incarnation of this mountain that keeps us alive.
神内山のお守りは日かがちふましらみからすよくも
I really love this song. He's definitely that kind of guy. I wish I could. I don't really want to save and then go out, but there is actually a werewolf picture in this. And what's really sort of funny is that when you went through the first loop, like the very first one, 0 through 3 here, when you went through that one, it showed the werewolf picture so much that I had to like. I was just doing like jokes about like you had to drink whenever they showed that werewolf picture. They honestly showed it way too many times. It was crazy. Like it was so frequent. Like it was just every other time was like I don't know what they were trying. Like it feels like after the first time they showed it, you should have just been like, oh yeah, no, I feel like I know what you want to show off. But then like it just kept going. Like they were just like, oh, just in case you forgot, this is how the werewolf looks. By the way, oh, this is the werewolf. This is how it looks. By the way, werewolf. There's a werewolf about. It was so funny. Shinai-san's guardians are 1 snake, 2 monkey, 3 crow, 4 spider. She was teaching me the song. I actually knew it by heart at this point, and the memories it was tied to made it hard to listen to, but I acted like it was nothing.
怪しよみ人なきにせん
8. Death of the damned Yomibito is the mandate. It took an uneasy tone. I looked away and saw Chiemi snickering as she waited for the right time to pop out.
くくれやひとひにひとり
9, 1 soul per day now to bind.
切り立った。
10, the mists rise away again.
あ、お疲れ様です。
Oh, hello.
あれ
Huh? She knew exactly what she was doing with this sudden appearance. How mischievous.
狩りでもしてきたんですか？
Were you hunting or something?
ああ、惜しい。肝臓じいちゃんの獲物の解体の手伝いをちょっとですね。
Oh no, but you're close enough. I just helped Kanso Ji-chan prepare one of the beasts he hunted down.
なるほど。似合ってますね。
I see, that suits you.
何ですかそれ。なんか傷つく。
What the hell? That kinda hurts. Crap. I accidentally remembered what she was like back then and gave a sarcastic comment. If she'd been telling the truth back then, she'd wanted to kill me ever since we first met. That meant that even now she was... Hold on. Did it mean that all the stuff I jokingly said about her being a murderer was on the mark? After all, the 2 shotguns were hidden in the room even then. Hold on. The first time we met, our very first encounter was among the rocks near Saranaka. I picked up her flashlight. Then she called out to me. What was she even doing there? It was late at night, yet she'd taken a flashlight and gone down a dangerous cliff to reach a locally taboo area, Saranaka. She'd also set this.
ちえみさんはね、ただ単に最初から殺したくて殺したくて殺したくて殺したくて殺したくて殺したくてたまんなかっただけ。
Listen, I just really wanted to kill.
そう。行ったら里帰りしたのだって。殺しがしたくて戻ってきたようなもんだったしさ。
Yeah, I even returned back home just because I wanted to kill someone. Those might have been nothing but words to make herself seem like the big bad wolf she was. However, it wasn't unlikely that she'd come down to Saranaka because she was doing something worrying. She'd probably been there on this timeline too. We just hadn't met there yet. There was no yet. Maybe this time she'd actually finished whatever she was doing there. Well, no one had gone missing or anything, so it probably wasn't murder, at least. It still made me curious. I was definitely attracted to her, cheer, tact, and mystery. But this time, I would focus on exposing the secrets of Yasumitsu itself. He who hunts 2 hares catches neither. I would only consider her to be a potential hazard.
いやいや、ワイルドさがハンティングなイメージに合ってるってことですよ。ちへみちゃんは猫科の猛獣って感じ。
Hey, I'm just saying that your wild image suits hunting. You honestly seem like a feline animal, Chiemi-chan.
お、いいですね、ちえみちゃん呼び。ついでに肉食獣に味見されてみます？
Oh, Chiemi-chan, I like that. Interested in letting a carnivore have a taste of you?
なんとハレンチな。私もリカコとお呼びください。
Ooh, how indecent. Please call me Rikako.
なんだそれ。
What the hell?
僕も下の名前でどうぞ。
You can call me by my first name too. What a mess of an exchange, though it still served to decide what we'd call each other, so that was fine by me.
何イチャイチャしてんのよ、パンツマン。
Oh my god. You're flirting now, undie man? She's not calling me that for the rest of this fucking loop. Surely not. She's not calling me that. Suddenly, we were joined by Haru-chan holding a stick. Die! I was actually getting chased by a girl because of lewd stuff. What was this? A 20th century manga?
パンツマン？
Undie man?
パンツマン。
Undie man?
パンツマン。
Undie man? I was worried that nickname would spread, and I really hoped it didn't. I couldn't have predicted that I'd run out of time just calming Haru-chan down and preventing the nickname from taking roots in their mind.
夕霧が
The mist.
嘘
No way. Ah.
いやー霧は嫌
No, not the mist. Was she afraid of the mist because of whatever happened 8 years ago?
はるちゃん落ち着いて
Haru-chan.
ちえみちゃん彼女はどこに
Haru-chan, calm down. Chiemi-chan, where should she go? In the spur of the moment, I went and called her by first name, which I was pretty sure she didn't like, but no one could care right now.
私が寮に連れてく春明さんはどこに
I'll take her to the dorm. Where will you go?
ああそうだ今日は僕は上のプレハブに泊まることにしてまして
Oh, right. I've ended up staying in the prefab.
どうしてあんなところに
Huh? Why there?
小屋はどうさ
What
れま
about
し
the
た
hut?
僕は明日からずっと寝泊まりするからお客さんにいい場所を譲るべきかなと
I'll be staying there every day starting tomorrow, so I thought I had to let the visitor have the better place this time.
春明様素晴らしいお気遣いかと
Raki-sama, how considerate.
何ごちゃごちゃやってるの急いでリカ子さんはメイコちゃんのこと頼みましたよ
Stop wasting time. Hurry up, Rikako-san. You take Meiko-chan.
わかりましたメイコみそぎ物意味夢枕よ
Very well, Meiko. It is time to cleanse, shelter, and dream.
ねえわかった
Okay.
春明さん抜け道教えるから上まで一緒に行こう春ちゃん歩ける
Haraki-san, I'll show you a shortcut. Let's go together. Haru-chan, can you walk?
霧いや息が追ってくるの爪の音が
Mist, 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 no breath, breath's chasing sound of claws. I could have said that faster than she did. I looked at Chiemi, she nodded, and I picked Haru-chan up.
さんいや
No, she was pale, her expression was empty, and her body was shaking, locked in a fetal position. Just what had she seen in the mist? What had she gone through? I hesitantly tightened my grip on her. She meekly grabbed onto my jacket. I had no idea if I could get along with her, but it wasn't impossible. While on the move, I noticed Hashimoto-san head to the hut I provided him, so all seemed good on that front. After leaving Haru-chan in her dorm room, I said goodbye to her, Chiemi, and the two guys there who were waiting for Haru-chan in worry, before making my way to the construction site.
寮の裏手の小道通ればすぐ行けるから、足は滑らさないよう気をつけてね。
You can get there easily through the path behind the dorm. Don't slip along the way. She also told me about how to prepare for the feast and was generally pretty nice about it too. It was pretty annoying that I couldn't just tell her that I knew it all. By the time I'd arrived at the prefab, the sun was down. I began by checking how I'd fare here. I take only the bare minimum of food and water I had here. I came prepared, but I didn't want to use the bathroom until morning. This was the shabbiest sleeping spot yet, but since I was still pretty awake, that allowed me to think a bit more. It was time to assess the situation. First of all, there were two things I had to keep in mind. How Yudai Hashimoto-san joining would affect the feast, and whether I could find out much about the feast and Fujiyoshi from Haru Makishima. The former would probably be made obvious by tomorrow. If he died despite all I'd done this time, I'd be all out of ways to help him survive. I'd have to start considering if there was something inhuman at work that actively was trying to prevent him from joining. If he did join the feast though, the Guardian assignments would definitely change, just like they had when Mamiya-san and I joined. That would be neither good nor bad. However, the info I'd gained the first time when I couldn't participate at all, and the second time when I participated as the snake, were completely different. Naturally, there was a change in human relationships and who benefited from them. And now, with this change, I would get to know people I hadn't interacted much with yet. Especially Haru-chan. I could only hope that being the undie man didn't result in her avoiding me. Is he going to get monkey with her? Maybe that's what it wants. I feel like that would be the only, like, sort of... That reminded me, Mochi was the reason for my new title. Was he the biggest obstacle in my path towards the truth? Nah, he wouldn't admit it. But the guy liked Haru-chan and was jealous that I was getting between them. Oh, so he was the one who killed Haru-chan last time. Was the sad face I saw him on the day after just an act? I had no idea, but I could totally imagine him killing her, only to regret it right after. Oh yeah, Yasunaka-kun also revealed his feelings for Chiemi right after she killed him, didn't he? She'd instantly shut him down though. It seemed like she felt the same way the first loop, so that was probably true. Or maybe I just wanted to think that way. Then again, being liked by Chiemi meant that she wanted to kill you, so I wasn't sure if I was happy about that. That aside, as a wolf and as a human, he was a player skilled at debate and consideration. His words were rarely far from the mark, and he had influence over his mother's and friends' votes. He wasn't self-righteous or some kind of loner, and with a good backer spurring him on, he could be an excellent human player. If he was a wolf, though, I'd instantly know it from his lack of enthusiasm towards the feast. Maybe that would be considered cheating, but whatever. Meanwhile, though, Chiemi had done some bold things during the last feast. She wasn't a very active participant in the meetings themselves. That was probably because, just like Mochi, she played cautiously as a wolf and avoided drawing attention to herself. Taking that into account, Chiemi's whole hang me act on the first day was pretty impressive. It was bold for a wolf to make such a self-sacrificing play at that stage, but it was at a point where people weren't yet ready to hang anyone, human or wolf. She'd managed to make herself look like a human without any real risk, and kept the act going until the end. Welcome, Pump. Pump, you missed the ending of the second loop, and now we're in the third loop, called Darkness. What did you miss? What did you miss? What did you miss? This one, right? Yeah. So basically, we knew that Chiemi was going to use the shotguns. Well, Chiemi and Mochi. So what we did was we replaced the shotgun ammo with blanks, or at least something that didn't shoot. So the shotguns were rendered useless. And then we sort of won because we killed both of them. We hanged them. And then we thought everything was okay, but then as you can as you can sort of tell, it was not okay because what's his name? Medic guy. I forgot his name. Kyonosuke or whatever. Is it Kyonosuke? Almost, yeah. Kyonosuke no Sato. This guy, he had killed everyone. He had just murdered everyone who was alive. So now we're trying to figure out why that happened and how we can avoid that. So that's the next step. I think I read this. She managed to make herself look like a human without any real risk and kept the act going until the end. I'd heard that Chiemi had a decently big impact on the feast I didn't participate in. If she became a human, she would surely be a valuable asset to the humans. Personally, I didn't want to be enemies with her again, but I had no idea what she thought of me right now before the feast had even begun. She herself had told me that she'd always wanted to kill me, which meant that the kindness she displayed to me so far could have been an act. That wasn't a pleasant thought. Rikaku-san too seemed to be pretty fond of me. That was probably because of her idea that I was a special person who could do something about the feast. I wanted to do something about it, but saw no possible way at this point. I couldn't help but worry that I'd disappoint her again. She was pretty passive in the feast, and her votes often prioritized the local folklore and fairness. She did some pretty dangerous things though, like trusting me without any real reason to. That is pretty dangerous. However, as a descendant of the Uematsu family, she knew full well just how scary the feast was and how to deal with it. The fact that she knew Meiko's position was pretty important too, and would surely be important now. I wasn't sure about Meiko herself though. If she got a guardian and Rikaku-san handled her well, it'd all be good. But if that wasn't the case, I couldn't expect much from her in the feast, and her votes were based on how she felt at the moment. She would be an uncertain factor and nothing more. Rikaku-san let her vote as she pleased, probably to hide that they were communicating, which wasn't great. The old man who cried wolf was even worse though. What the hell was that guy? A senile old man? It really didn't seem like it. Kanzo-san had said that he'd survived the previous feast. He never said anything important during the feast, but had a vote worth the same as everyone else's. He also pretended to be the spider last time. Though Rikaku-san came out as a spider as Meiko's representative, she was essentially the real thing. Claiming to be the spider despite that was only meaningful if you were the badger. After all, if the badger presented themselves to the wolves once enough humans were out of the game, they would have a latent ally, which would be pretty good for them. And if he was capable of thinking that much, it meant that he wasn't just senile, quite the opposite in fact. But that idea didn't click with the fact that he'd always end up getting hanged. What was he even after? I had more than enough evidence to conclude that he was insane. That just made spending time thinking about him more of a pain. Now, while Kanzo-san's actions and goals were obvious, he was hard to control. He'd been handling the feast based on his experience from the other ones. It was a relatively logical approach, but he wasn't flexible at all. He was extremely overbearing when it came to the flow of the conversation, and didn't mind making unnecessary sacrifices, which eventually led to a lack of stability. He also had a weak point in Haru-chan. When it concerned her, he could become dangerous and violent. The other elder, Tei Yamawaki-san, was simply a hyper-traditionalist who resented the younger folks. In certain situations, it was easy to get her to vote right, but in others, she was nothing more than a hindrance. She was also Takumi-san's, a key person's, weak point, and handling that whole matter was difficult. Tei-san's opposite was Yoshitsugu Oribe. He didn't care about tradition and hated the elders, as well as the village heads. He was also the intense type and could easily mess up the feast. It was also possible for him to make peace with his mother and brother and enter the Yasunaka-kun faction. What the hell? But if left to his own devices, he could break the rules and get eliminated from the game on the first night. Handling him was difficult. His mother, Kaori-san, was generally a passive player who followed Yasunaka-kun, but she had a tendency to do unexpected things. When Yoshitsuka-kun had died, she tried to poison everyone's food, and she'd also tried to bend the feast rules and leave a dying message. She was the sole source of decent food here, and honestly, I wanted her and her sons to survive until the end. Then there was the man who understood and loved her, Takumi-san. He was important as the facilitator and mediator, keeping Yasumitsu unified despite the tribulations of the feast. He had a lot of weaknesses though, such as his antagonism toward outsiders and the village heads, as well as his tendency to do unnecessary stuff on his own. However, all of it was outweighed by his popularity, charisma, and sheer strength, which were useful now and then. Overall, he was someone I wanted to depend on. He really had a form of trusting relationship with his brain though. Now, Kyonosuke no Satoshi was pretty hard to evaluate. He often said things that didn't have to be said, couldn't read the mood, and tended to create conflicts between himself and Yasumitsu's people, but despite expectations, he ended up surviving. He actually wasn't wrong most of the time, but his presentation alone often ruined it completely. He was one of the few village heads in the group, so I could at least count on him to prevent any unfair votes towards Rikaku-san. But besides that, I just remembered that he was a doctor. Couldn't he examine the dead bodies? Why did I have to do it when we had him around? He hadn't insisted on examining a single corpse so far. Was it because he was afraid of dead bodies or something? What the hell? That kind of joke wasn't funny in a situation like this. Besides them, there were the journos. Mamiya-san had been pretty much manipulated by Chiemi, so reading her was hard. If she could keep her cool, she could probably make some decent contributions to the feast. Also, I felt that her knowledge of folklore and occult stuff would be necessary for my current main goal, finding out the truth. As for Hashimoto-san, he hadn't survived this night, even once thus far, so I couldn't say anything for him. However, though the first impressions had made him seem like nothing but some fat guy, he did show an impressive capacity for logic and reason. If both Mamiya-san and Hashimoto-san survived, I imagine they would perform really well in the feast. Of course, it was hard for them to pass the barrier all outsiders face here. Then there was myself. I was the most suspicious here, and the one most likely to get hanged. Last time, I'd been able to survive because I was the snake and leveraged my role as well. It helped me get Takumi-san and Rikaku-san over to my side, as bad as that sounded. However, there was no guarantee that it would happen again. It was best to assume it wouldn't. In that situation, I'd have to focus on helping my side emerge victorious with myself still alive, rather than just helping my side emerge victorious. Even if I could loop, there was no guarantee that I couldn't get into a situation where I would be hanged no matter what. That was a heavy thought to have, but I'd have to believe it. But I have to believe I could make it and keep pushing onward. I had to keep going. Suddenly, I felt drowsiness come over me. Had I been so busy during the day that I'd ended up more tired than I thought? It was time to cleanse myself. I took off my clothes, wiped my body, switched into my spare underwear, and that was that. Then I locked the shabby-looking lock and returned to my bed, if you could call it that. What would I do if my door was suddenly knocked down and some scary werewolf monster came in? I tried to keep myself on my toes, but my brain knew that wasn't how the feast worked, so it just relaxed and let me to sleep. I'd be safe today. I wouldn't die today. I'd think about what came next later. I felt a strange pain all over my body. Next, I felt that something was way too red. I could see the light of the outside through my eyes. I thought that meant it was dawn, but that wasn't the case. The morning sun had a bitter orange color, but this red right here was darker and colder. It also felt like my eyes weren't even closed. Why was I unconscious with my eyes open? Not only did my body hurt, but it was cold as well. Too cold. I was sleeping on the ground. My hair was on some gravel while my hands felt grass and mist. It was cold. My senses awakened. It was more like something that had been cut off had suddenly returned. It wasn't quite the same as a typical morning, and the bizarre sensation took me a moment to adjust to. I was outside. The moment I realized that all blood left my face. I tried to jump up, but then I realized my body was sluggish, and that my body temperature was extremely low. Had I been out in this cold mist for that long? My mind was in better condition than my body, at least. Why was I outside anyway? Is he going to be a werewolf? Am I going to be a werewolf? Had I broken some taboo I didn't know about? Did the prefab count as outside? Would I be taken outside and killed because of it? Maybe there wasn't even need for a reason like that. It could have been that I'd be used as an example. If Yudai Hashimoto-san did the feast prep this time, no one would die tonight, but perhaps that was a bad thing for Great Lord Shinai. The existence of the penalty, the corruption, was best made through example. A simple mess of a corpse was enough to prevent people from trying to escape or walking out at night. However, if no one broke that rule, no example could be made. But it was actually entirely possible to make an example without anyone breaking any laws. If there was a corpse tomorrow, everyone would just assume that the victim had broken a law. No one would question the Punisher's decision. Well, we hadn't had any unexplainable victims of the corruption thus far. That was my assumption anyway. Rikako-san going nuts made absolutely no sense, but it wasn't even clear if that was the corruption, so I would just leave it at that. Beside that, all instances of the corruptions so far seem to have completely plausible causes behind them, so I'd assumed that the Punisher was fair. The Punisher. But I could trust their benevolence. But could I trust their benevolence now in this situation? I was an outsider who was barely known here, and that kind of made me the best person to make an example out of. Had I been too optimistic to assume that I wouldn't die today? My throat was dry, which made me feel even colder. My irritation and panic broke my tolerable limits, and I finally regained my senses and control over my body. There's red light all around me. Its source was distant, but it lit up the entire mist, giving it a bewitching, unsettling shine. It made me both uneasy and scared. It reminded me of the first mist I'd ever seen, even though it was late at night right now. However, unlike the first time, I didn't feel any beasts nearby. I strained my eye to look into the mist, and realized that I had someone at my side. Or rather, I realized that there was a humanoid silhouette within the red light. It was a girl. Haru Makishima. Haru-chan. As I tried to stand up, I staggered pathetically and collapsed again. I could barely even speak. She noticed me, slowly turned her face towards me, and looked down at me with eyes showing no hint of emotion, thought, or life. She was even smiling a bit.
Pusaishi-san.
Pusaishi-san. I heard my name. It surprised me, but I somehow turned to the other side and saw Kaori Oribe. Her eyes and expression were almost exactly like Haru-chan's. God is coming. Was I still half asleep? Was this some sort of dream? Why were they here anyway? It's coincidentally exactly 3 people, huh? But if I could actually see the god that Shiemi, Rikako-san, and Haru-chan talked about, I would accept it in a heartbeat. I turned to the direction that those two were facing. In red, misty darkness, I saw the outline of a large tree. It was the hanging pine. That meant that this was the graveyard. And there were 3 lights, or rather sets of them, within the mist. It took me a moment, but I realized they were eyes. The vague silhouette seemed human, and yet not human at the same time. Was that God? Why had they appeared before us? Questions filled my head, my thoughts became dull, my sense of logic froze, and my vision contracted. Oopsie daisy. Suddenly, God spoke. Loki here. For I will tell ye the true legend. It was like a rumble, but it was definitely a voice. We will now tell you the true legend. I tried to follow what he said. The wolves was not fully dead. Dead. The wolves aren't dead yet. Truly, it is mankind that has been dead. It's the humans that are dead. Mankind is snake. Mankind is snake, ape, crow, spider. Human, snake, monkeys, crows, spider. All creation is the making of Yomi. All of them have risen up from Yomi. The laws of the mountain say, all creations is to be killed. You have been chosen willfully to be the wolves. Make great destruction upon the Yomibitu and make pure the mountains and the something. The river. A noble gift we give you. You shall wear this and cleanse yourself. Do this and the wicked must something. Do that and the corrupt mist shall not harm you. But since the mist is so dense, we will also send you the badger. Tomorrow night we shall inspire one of the Yomibitu to become your ally. This badger would be a guardian, and it is our help to you. So so the wolves always got such a detailed explanation. I had to sneeze. They were low in numbers. Humans received other guardians. They were under pressure to lie at all times. And were surely conflicted about many things. The wolves were actually at quite a disadvantage here. Achoo. However, they had more information. They knew their allies and enemies, and about the existence of the traitor unknown to the humans. Anyway, draw the blood of one human a night. Anyway? Seriously? Did he have any idea how hard that was? Otherwise, you will be the ones to die. Threats too, huh? Do not doubt this. He just repeated it for effect, surely. He really wanted us to believe him. So the three of us were wolves. I had no idea if that was true. Hell, I didn't even know if this was real or not. Then the red light became weaker, or my consciousness began to fade. I had no idea. And soon enough, it was all dark. Okay, so we're a werewolf. Interesting. My body hurt. The familiar sensation made me open my eyes slightly. I saw the bright but shabby inside of the prefab. Through the dirty curtainless window, I saw the mist outside. This was reality, wasn't it? I lifted my upper body, turned a bit, moved my head, pinched my cheek. It all felt real. I then tried to stand, and I could. Looking at my phone, which was about to run out since this place had no electricity, I saw the correct date and that it was 8 o'clock. I'd slept in pretty late. Remembering something, I lifted the bottom of my shirt and looked at my stomach. What I saw made me freeze. The Lord of the Hunt, the Wolf, slay all the Yumibito, cleanse and purify, or die. It wasn't a dream. Or was it? Cleanse, purify, dream?
そんなもんは上富士吉の方々が私たちをバカにしてから考えたもんじゃと思ったのよね。
At first we thought the people of Kamifujiyoshi just made it up to make fun of us.
だけどそうじゃない。本当じゃと親鸞様は加護をくださるとともにそう言われなさった。
But we found out it was true when we became blessed by Shinai-sama himself.
おじいちゃんが死んだ日に私の夢に出てそう教えてくれたんだ。
On the day Oji-chan died, he showed up in my dreams and told me about it. Great Lord Shinai told the real story through dreams, making the people of Yasumitsu change drastically. They went from those who hunted wolves to those who hunted humans. It wasn't clear which side was right. I didn't even know if there was a right side to this. But I didn't feel much. I didn't get any sort of hatred for the humans or motivation to kill. The first time Yasunaka-kun, Tei-san, Tei-san, and Haru-chan all had some sort of cold, calm anger towards the humans. Last time, Chiemi had said that she was intent on killing me from the start. As for Mochi, my first impression of him was weird but harmless kid, and that somehow became insane killer.
まあ私らにも色々あって最後まであがかないといけないことになってるからさ。もう質問とかやめてよ。面倒。
We had our reasons for doing what we did, and we had to keep doing it until the end, so stop with the questions. They're a pain. However, she'd also said that she was struggling. It didn't sound like it had anything to do with what she wanted. Regardless of what you were like before, you became a wolf by getting the wolf as your guardian. What was Mamiya-san like in that regard? She had worked as a wolf, but that was either just to survive, or because she was urged by Chiemi. There was no zeal or loyalty there, so she ended up being silenced. That meant that the real story only worked on the people of Yasumitsu. That was the only way things made sense. But if that dreamlike experience was true, then this time the wolves were Haru-chan, Kori-san, and I, right? I had seen them in the mist, and red light, and they certainly didn't look right. I wasn't sure if it was actually a matter of sanity, but they just accepted the event as natural. A change born from the real story, an event set up from the start. No, I also had to consider the possibility that it was just a dream, and that me being chosen as a wolf had nothing to do with it. I still couldn't be sure if they were the other wolves. I absolutely couldn't just go to the dining hall and ask them if they were. I had to wait until tonight. Suddenly,
Stacy, 大丈夫か?
Stacy, you okay?
春明さん、春明さん、生きてる？春明さん。
And with that, I'm gonna take a quick break because I actually really need to use the bathroom and also get some more water. So let's quickly find something to put on. Not this song, because that's what we heard earlier. Let's quickly find some music to put on. How long is this song? The song is 4 minutes? Sure. I don't know if I've heard this before. I might have put this on before. But in any case, I'll be right back. Hold on.
開催いたします。昨年度多くの負傷者を出し、角が欠ける程度の被害が出ている豆腐ハンバーグ問題につきまして、生ハゲ委員会主導のもと、大豆ダメ絶対キャンペーンを実施いたしまして、国民の鬼の皆様が間違えて接種せんよう、こちらの方針にてお知らせしていきたいと考えております。開催いたします。昨年度多くの負傷者を出し、角が欠ける程度の被害が出ている豆腐ハンバーグ問題につきまして、生ハゲ委員会主導のもと、大豆ダメ絶対キャンペーンを実施いたしまして、国民の鬼の皆様が間違えて接種せんよう、こちらの方針にてお知らせしていきたいと考えております。
That's enough of that. Because I'm back. Hide break. I have returned. Welcome, Redacted. Welcome in. Arrived just in time for the stream. We're just playing a bit of Raging Loop. You've sort of missed that we've started the third loop, as visible by the fact that there are 3 columns. And the third loop is a continuation of the second loop. Of course, the second loop is a continuation of the first loop. And in the third loop, we are very possibly, almost certainly, a werewolf. So, that's a change of pace. Someone knocked on my door. I quickly wiped off the bloody guardian mark on my stomach. It was dry, so it came off easily. I washed my hands in the bucket and unlocked the door. Why is she crying? You're okay.
よかった、春明さん。
Haraki-san, I'm so glad. I saw Takumi-san armed with a farming tool and Chiemi, who was so happy about my survival she had tears in her eyes. The fact that she was the same person as that vicious mass murderer made it difficult to be happy about this development. If this was an act, this reminded me that she herself had told me I had a bad eye for women. Without any of that, she'd really seem like nothing but a gentle, cute young woman. We carefully walked through the mist.
まさか本当に霧が立つなんて不吉なことだって聞いたけど。
The mist actually came. I heard it's a bad sign. Is it?
うん。どこまで聞いたのかな?
How much have you heard exactly?
必ず死人が出るって。
Someone always dies when it comes.
誰だよ。来て早々ろくでもねえこと吹き込んだの。
Who the hell told that to a damn newcomer? What is he calling me? Damn newcomer?
それはまあともかく。まさかどなたか亡くなったんですか?
That aside, did someone die?
いや。
No.
まだ誰も死んでないよ。
No one's dead yet. Good.
もうみんないるんだ。
Has everyone gathered already?
うん、食堂に。ごめん、春明さんを迎えに行くの遅くなっちゃって。
Yeah, in the dining hall. Sorry we came to pick you up pretty late.
みんな霧が出てパニクってんだ。後回しにして悪かったな。
Everyone's panicking because of the mist. Sorry for making you wait. Of course they'd come for me last. I was at the bottom of the totem pole here. And despite that, I was a wolf. Crap. How's I supposed to survive Kanso-san's "Can you just die?" today? Hold on. What was I thinking? Was I actually going to fulfill my role as a wolf? I would actually create those awful piles of corpses. I didn't want to do that. I was so beholden. I wasn't beholden to some weird legend. There was no need for me to play along with this insanity. Honestly, I could just reveal who the wolves were on the first day. That'd keep the sacrifices minimal and... No, that'd result in my own death. I had to think carefully. I had to survive. I had to survive and escape the loop. This wasn't a matter of just leaving Yasumitsu or Fujiyoshi. I actually ended the feast once and escaped, yet the death loop still continued. Hell, the feast of the Yomi Purge and the general mystery surrounding the Fujiyoshi still wasn't over. Honestly, I had no confidence if I'd been of the right mind when I decided to actually move to Fujiyoshi. It felt like all the characters and stage props here were gathered to bring about nothing but tragedy. Until I'd solved all the mysteries here, the supernatural forces here would continue to terrorize me no matter how far I ran. There was the possibility that surviving as a wolf would solve everything. Though that wasn't a pleasant thought. Perhaps I'd come back to life, returned from Yomi over and over because of the local Yomi inhabitants. So in order to solve this, I had to become a wolf and kill them all. Right. This could be the right path. What is he saying?
Haruaki-san?
Haruaki-san.
どうしたの？
What?
どうしたの？難しい顔して。
What's wrong? Something bothering you?
ちょっといろいろ不安で、これでも結構怖がりなんだ。
I'm kind of worried. I'm actually quite the scaredy cat.
無理はねえよ。
Can't blame you. Would I have to kill them too?
お前、血とか平気か？
Can you handle blood?
え、どうしてです？
Huh? Why are you asking?
人は死んでないけど、ちょっとね。
No person died, but, well, their expressions turned dark. I saw the plaza.
狼様は3人おる。
There are 3 wolves. Just like last time, Tei Yamawaki-san was at the Okiba, with 3 Yomotsu Okami symbols painted on it. They're really throwing me every single fucking pronunciation.
どういうことです？
What do you mean?
後で教えてあげるからね。
I'll tell you later. The exchange was exactly as I remembered. I still knew about all this, so I had to be careful to stay in character. I couldn't forget that just about everyone here had their first feast today. They didn't have the knowledge or experience, and no one had killed anyone yet. If I went and said something weird, they'd suspect me, so I had to act like the confused newbie. As I approached the plaza, I noticed a strange stench. Though it resembled the smell of death I was now intimately familiar with, this one felt more beastly.
何があるの？この先。
Just what is that stench?
見ない方がいいよ。
You shouldn't look. I disregarded her warning and headed towards the source of the smell. Huh. There was a pile of corpses in the middle of the plaza, though they weren't human. From what I could tell, they were remains of a mid-sized, 4-legged beast. They looked like dogs, but their bodies were in such terrible shape I wouldn't have been able to tell if they were foxes, tanuki, or wolves instead. Some had their limbs or heads removed, and a lot were just cut up really badly. Bloody fur, eyes open so wide you'd think they'd fallen out. If I had to guess, there were at least 20 of these here in this pile. It was about as tall as the back of a smaller adult. It reeked badly, but more than that, it was just disturbing. Crimson fur, countless fangs, claws, eyes. This seemed like an original idea for a fantasy monster. Indeed, monster was very apt. It was almost a monument dedicated to the Omotsu Okami. Perhaps this was the example this time.
絶対触んなよ。後で全部皿長に捨てる。
Don't touch it, we're throwing it in Saranaka later. I wasn't planning on touching it. It was basically a heap of potential diseases. Wouldn't dumping it in a river be illegal though? Screw it. This wasn't the time to worry about stuff like that.
Haruaki-san、意外と平気？
Haruaki-san, you seem strangely calm.
まあ、犬の死体とかは街でも見るし、これが人間だったらどうなったかわからないけど。
Well, you see dog corpses in town every now and then. Not sure how I'd feel if it was a person. It probably wouldn't affect me much at this point, to be honest. I'd seen too many horrible human corpses.
生きとったか?
You alive? Outside the dining hall, there was Kanso Makishimashi, gun in hand. Along with him was...
久石君。
Oh, both of them survived. Holy heck.
Ohayo.
Good morning. At the entrance, there were Mamiya-san who looked uneasy and Hashimoto-san who looked strangely composed. After greeting them, I went inside.
久石春明さんも無事でした。
Araki, Fushaishi-san is okay too.
これで全員だな。
That's everyone then.
まあ、よかったわ。
My, what a relief. I looked around and yeah, everyone was here. A total of 16. What a party. A party. At one seat there was Haru-chan. Her face was pale and her two friends were seated next to her.
ここにいたら安全だから。
It's safe in here.
ご飯食べれそう？
Wanna eat?
無理。
I just can't. She'd hated the mist before, but this time it seemed even worse. She also made herself as small as possible, and it felt like she was averse to their care. They seemed like a mix of her fear of the mist and the rejection of the villagers she'd had as a badger.
というか、安水で一番怖がりなんだよね、はるちゃん。
Oh, I'd say she's just about the greatest scaredy cat. She's the greatest scaredy cat here. Scaredy cat.
昔話の汚れとか、昔からすごく怖がってたし、ある意味、汚れるのを嫌がってたのかも。
She's always really afraid of all the corruption talk. Maybe she was just scared of getting corrupted.
だから、はるちゃんが狼でも、誰も殺したりできないと思うんだな。
That's why I don't think Haru-chan could kill anyone if she was a wolf. A girl who was afraid of the corruption. Oh, it started 8 years ago when she tried to visit Yasumitsu when it was covered in mist and saw something. That had to be it. The idea, or certainty, that the people around her were Yomibitsu had to scare her pretty badly. Maybe she really was a wolf. Kaori-san, on the other hand, looked okay. That thought came too soon. A moment later, I heard a crash from behind the counter.
ごめんなさい。片付けるわ。
I'm so sorry, I'll clean it up.
あ、僕がやります。というか、下働きなのに手伝いもせずすみません。
Oh, let me handle it. Hey, I'm supposed to be working here. Sorry for not helping. Without waiting for a response, I hurried behind the counter. There's broken porcelain on the floor, along with some rice and soup. The same food as last loop, basically. I already knew what was where in the kitchen, so I wetted a cloth, wrung it out, and started wiping it up. Then I spread out a newspaper and collected the porcelain. Suddenly, I felt something touch my upper arm. I turned around and saw Kaori-san crouching and staring at the floor with a pale expression. She was shaking. I could tell from her touch. There were tears in her eyes, and her half-open mouth made her look like she was about to sob. Her whole body was basically saying that she couldn't bear this.
香織さんは気分が悪いみたいだ。ちょっといいかな、安永くん、吉嗣くん。
Kaori-san isn't feeling too well, Yasunaka-kun. Yoshizuku-kun, can you come... Oh, isn't feeling too well. Too good. Isn't feeling too good. Yasunaka-kun, Yoshizuku-kun, can you come over?
母さん大丈夫?
That was a fucking mess of a sentence for me to read, holy heck. Huh? Mom? Are you okay?
具合悪いのに無理してんじゃねえよ。
Force yourself, hag. As they helped her get up the stairs, Kaori-san looked at me with eyes that seemed both pleading and scornful. It felt like she was asking if she really had to kill these wonderful children with her own hands. This mission was too much for her to bear, and from what I could tell, she wanted to share the burden with me to make it easier for herself. It was safe to assume that the dreamlike experience had indeed showed me the other wolves. Calm down though. It seemed pretty conclusive to me. This was just day one. We had the mist, the wolf symbols, and the pile of dog corpses, so it wasn't weird for a sensitive woman to become a bit sick. Even Chiemi and Hisako-san didn't look so good. The only ones who were clearly okay were Rikako-san, who looked like a no mask most of the time, and Meigo, who probably had her eyes hidden. So as long as they didn't act any more suspicious, it was all good.
配膳は僕の方でします。近持くん、君の後ろにある棚から丼を一つ持ってきてくれないか?
I'll serve the food. Chikamochi-kun, can you get me a bowl from that shelf?
おお、すでに置き場を熟知してるとは。だが、僕のことはモッチーと呼ぶがよい。
Whoa, you already know where everything is? You can call me Mochi though. I might have been the one in trouble here. I told him to call me Hassan, and I decided that I act more ignorant of things. After we ate, I pretended to be busy in the kitchen. Chiemi and Rikako-san looked like they wanted to talk, but I avoided them because I felt like I might accidentally spill the beans to them. Of course, we had to wait until Takumi-san and the Oribe brothers cleaned up the plaza, and I had tons of things to wash. Last time, the feast began at about 9, but now that Kori-san had gone to bed for a second time, it'd have to happen later. It didn't show any signs of starting even at noon, so we had lunch.
獅子肉使わなきゃね。私切るよ。
We gotta use the shishi. I'll cut it up.
てめえ釜で米炊けんのかよ。仕方ねえな。やってやっから。
I can't boil rice in a kettle. Screw it. I'll do it. I got some unexpected help, so I ended up having only to cut the veggies and add spice. We ended up with lots of decent rice and pork boar soup. I hadn't expected Yoshitsugu-kun to know how to boil rice. He'd probably helped out Kaori-san a lot.
はるちゃん、食べられそう？
Haru-chan, feel like eating?
食べるわよ。あと、慣れ慣れしく下の名前で呼ばないでほしい。
Yeah, and don't call me by name.
失礼いたしました、お嬢様。
Apologies, milady.
やめてよ。パンツマンのくせに。
Stop it, Undie man. I hadn't accepted that name, but trying to resist it would have probably made her antagonistic towards me, so I just laughed it off.
心配かけてごめんなさい。いい匂いね。誰がしてくれたの？
I'm sorry for making you worry. What a nice smell. Who made it?
ちえみと吉嗣くんの手伝いのもと、だいたい春明さんが。
Haraki-san, Yoshitsugu-kun and I helped out.
まあ、吉嗣もありがとうね。
Oh my. Thank you, Yoshitsugu.
飯炊いただけだっつうの。
I just boiled some rice.
食べられそうですか？
Do you think you can eat?
いただくわ。
Yes, I'll have some. Everyone noticed that her face was as pale as before, but no one pointed it out. Kanto-san was beginning to become irate, and it was clear we had to begin the feast soon.
これ食ったらやるか、おやっさん。
We're doing it after eating? Everyone, even Kori-san, understood what was going to happen. No, two people didn't.
いや、上の道路が塞がってるのは分かりましたけど、下の沢を通れば出られるんじゃないんですか？
Well, I understand that the road is blocked, but can't we get out by crossing the stream below?
下は危ないのだよ。気持ちはわかるがね。あえて試さずに救助を待つ方が良いのではないかね。
It's dangerous. I understand how you feel, but it might be best to just wait for help.
さっき芹沢さんは救助は来ないって言ってましたよ。一体何が起きてるんですか？
Serizawa-san just said that no one would come. What's going on here?
まあまあ。おばあさん。いずれ説明はあるんですよね。
No need to rush it, ma'am. Will you explain it to us, yes?
この後、宴の時に話しますよ。
Yes, I'll tell you about the feast later.
今してくださいよ。妙なことに参加する気はないんですが。
Do it now. I don't want to participate in something I know nothing about.
ちゃん。まあまあ。
Kuya-chan, no need for that. Hearing them talk made me nervous, but at least they kept everyone on their toes. Or is that a bad thing for us wolves? The only thing the humans could do against the wolves was lynch, so we had to keep their motivation to do that to a minimum. At the very least, that was relatively easy today when no one had died so far. Kanto Makishima would definitely insist we hang someone, and I had to somehow shoot him down. Of course, I had to avoid standing out in a way that would affect my chances further down the line.
やるぞ。集会堂へ行け。
It's time. Go to the hall. We all lined up and the eldest went in first. They joined their hands and hit their faces. It was a unique sight, and once again, I copied them. Like last time, I ended up at the lower end of the group, but the complete outsiders were below even me.
いいんですか?
Is this really okay with you?
恥じゃないと邪魔くさいでしょ、僕。
I'd be in their way if I wasn't at one end of the group, right? I mean, I couldn't give any stronger agreement, so I just gave him a light in response. Tei-san, oh there he is. First time we see him in this picture. This will be the absolute complete picture. There is no more complete picture than this, I assume. I don't assume that there's going to be a sudden, like, 17th character or whatever. Tei-san declared the start of the feast and Rikaku-san handed out some divine sake. Aren't you driving?
しばらくはなさそうだよ。
Won't be for a while. Hashimoto-san drank 3 full cups without any urging him to, and Mamiya-san griped that he was drinking too much. He'd also had 3 more helpings of lunch. It was appropriate for someone his size, so I hadn't even commented on it. With him being the first to drink, the rest of us were a bit taken aback. Then Tei-san explained the legend and the feast. That sounds like a crime to me. Just like last time, after asking this and that, Mamiya-san eventually took that strong stance on the whole thing.
しかし、やらんと死ぬのはあたしらなのよ。
But if we don't, we will die ourselves.
だからってそんな。
But
最後まで聞こう。意見を言う前に、まず聞くべき質問がたくさんできそうだ。
let's listen until the end, then we'll have time for questions and we can share our thoughts.
わかりました。
Okay. Mamiya-san still had a stern expression, but her cool temperament made her seem like a completely different person from last time. After that, Yasunaka-kun pointed out things Tei-san missed, like the amount of people the wolves could kill, the extra info on the spider, and whether any of us were in a feast before. Then...
その加護というのはどうやって通知されるものでしょうか?
How do you know if you have a guardian? Hashimoto-san, who wasn't here last time, quickly pointed out more info that was missing. Kanzo-san explained that they appeared on the stomach.
なるほど。だから体を吹かせるのが掟の一つなんでしょうかね。
I see, so that's...
汗だくの肌には神様も触りたがらんと。
I see, so that's why cleaning your body is one of the rules that God doesn't want to touch sweaty skin.
あんた、意外とよくしゃべるな。
You talk more than I expected.
ああ、失礼しました。仕事の時はああいう感じの方がやりやすいんで我慢してます。
Oh, my apologies. I'm only quiet when I work. It makes it easier, so I restrain myself. He smiled, astonishing everyone yet again. At this point, all the rules except for the badger had been revealed.
なんか調子狂っちまったけどよ。どうすんだ？実際のところ、犬が何十匹か殺されただけで人は死んでもね。
Well, we kind of went off track, but what do we do now? We got some dead dogs, but it's not like a person died, right?
こんなもん、上藤吉の誰かの嫌がらせじゃねえのかよ。昔はよくあったってばあちゃん言ってたろ。
What if it's just someone in Kamifujiyoshi trying to intimidate us? Ba-chan said it happens often. That was news to me.
そりゃあ、あたしのおばあさんはね、よう上の人らがふざけて頼みずに獅子の血流したとか言ってたけどね。
Well, my Oba-san said that the people from there used to release shishi blood into the field water. And with the shishi blood mentioned... Nah, I'm just kidding. But I'm gonna end here. Save. This was actually only going to be... this one. This was going to be a short stream for... I actually expected it to be a bit longer, but I can see CV started streaming, so I wanna raid CV. I don't get to do that ever, actually, because I stream after her. Here we go. End. So let's change to this one. Hello there. There's not much to say, is there? I'm gonna type /raid. Wait, what's a raid browser? What the hell is this? I'm just gonna type /raid. I already know who I'm raiding. I'm raiding Svinka. Thanks for dropping by. Thanks for watching. If you're not in the Discord, if you're not in my Discord, then you might have missed that a couple of weeks from now, 11 days from now, it'll be my birthday, and I'm going to do a longer stream on either the 11th, or not the 11th, on the either the 22nd or the 21st, one of the two. So drop by if you want to watch more of me. I don't know what I'm doing. It's gonna be complete random what I do. It's gonna be so much stuff. So many things are gonna happen. So many things. Like games. Probably some more games, maybe. Maybe we'll play some more games, perhaps, and just play a bunch of games. But yeah, thanks for stopping by, and now I'm going to leave you with the soothing sound of CV. Bye bye.